Normally I have something funny to say in these intros, or I react to the win or the loss. Win in first time in a very long time. But the only thing that needs to be said, re-sign Mike Gesicki. What is up, Fin fans? First time we've won since week 1. It's been too long. way too long. But the Miami Dolphins win against the Houston Texans 17-9. Real quick, before we jump into this, I have to shout out a new patron and a new member. Justin Lemansky, new member. And on the Patreon side, Nicholas Dunning. Thank you guys so much for being a new patron and a new member. If you'd like to join the membership, just hit the join button next to the subscribe button. If you'd like to become a patron, that is in the description. Patrons are going to get full uncut versions of the film breakdown. And then members get the early access. So let's jump into this game. And the Miami Dolphins win this one 17-9. A little bit of a surpriser. Tua Tagovailoa does not play, has a small fracture in the middle finger on his throwing hand. Even before the game started, one of the announcers, one of the field reporters were saying that it was swollen. He was having a hard time grabbing the ball, this, that, and the other thing. You take whatever you want from that, whether you think they benched him, at this point, we won, and I don't care about it. There's some good and there's some bad in this game. But before we jump into the good and the bad, before we go over my 2 pages of notes that I took, because there was a lot to talk about, let's talk about some stats. We'll start with the away team, like always, Houston Texans. Tyrod Taylor, 24 for 43, 240 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Miami Dolphins defense was all over the field. Then you have Phillip Lindsay, 8 carries for 28 yards. Tyrod Taylor, 3 carries for 23 yards. David Johnson, 4 carries for 11 yards. Rex Burkhead, 2 for 9. Then you have receivers. You have Brandon Cook, 6 catches for 56 yards. Danny Amendola, 3 for 49. Chris Conley, 2 for 38. And David Johnson, 3 for 29. And then you have the Miami Dolphins. Jacoby Brissett, 26 for 43, 244 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Myles Gaskin, 20 carries for 34 yards. Disgusting. I'm not even going to mention the other ones. Jalen Waddle, 8 carries for 83 yards. Mike Gesicki, 4 catches for 54 yards. Durham Smythe, 2 catches for 27. Myles Gaskin, 6 for 23. Does that tell you something? Look at the top 4 receiving leaders. Waddle, receiver. Tight end, running back. But look at the defense, on the other hand. There is forced fumble, Eric Rowe. Byron Jones recovers the fumble. And then on the interception, Justin Coleman gets an interception. Jerome Baker, how you doing, gets an interception. Javon Holland gets his first interception. And when it comes to sacks, Andrew Van Ginkel with a sack. Nick Needham with a sack. Emmanuel Ogbah, 2.5 sacks. Jalen Phillips, half a sack. The defense was getting after the Houston Texans. So let's talk about this game. Jacoby Brissett did well. He did better than he used to. He did better than he did against the Raiders. And he did better than he did. No, I can't even say that. He threw 2 interceptions. I can't even say that. The defense held the Houston Texans to 9 points. A lot of it had to do with some bad plays. The first drive for the Dolphins offense, 3 and out, was disgusting. And then I noticed that the opposing offenses do to our defense that really messes with them is emotions. They do a lot of motions. So they'll take the receiver and they'll motion him to the right side and then snap the ball while he's still in motion, kind of mess with our defense when it comes to motions, because if we play zone, we get torched. Mike Gesicki. I need to talk about this real quick. Mike Gesicki. 2 one-handed catches. The man has such fire, such passion. They need to re-sign Mike Gesicki. If you want to win in the future, if you want to do anything with this team in the future, he is a top 5 tight end in the NFL. There's no arguing that. They need to re-sign Mike Gesicki. The man is a beast. He catches everything and anything if it's thrown in his general direction. Re-sign Mike Gesicki. The defense played well today. For a good 80% of the game, the defense was shutting down Houston. Here's my problem. And I talked about this in my video. I got really frustrated. And because I was like, don't crumble, don't lose this. We have this game in the bag. And I got real frustrated. The first half of the game, even the first like 3 quarters of the game, the Dolphins defense was very aggressive. They were sending pressure, which was causing Tyrod Taylor to throw interceptions, was causing sacks, was just a ton of pressure. Laramie Tunsil wasn't out there for the Houston Texans, so it was very smart with the way they were playing the defense. And then all of a sudden, in the fourth quarter, even some of the third quarter, it'd be like 3rd and 13, 3rd and 19, and they'd convert because they'd send 3 or send 4, and they would drop people into coverage. And it was driving me nuts. One play that got them down to the goal line, they dropped John Jenkins into coverage. John Jenkins, the defensive tackle, the 400-pound defensive tackle, they dropped him into coverage. Why? And I noticed that they keep dropping Jalen Phillips into coverage. That's what they do. They'll look like they're sending pressure. They'll back out. They'll only send 3, and they'll drop everyone else back into coverage. So then Tyrod Taylor gets 1,000 years to throw the ball. He waits for these guys to get open in our zone defense, and he drops it off to him. Stop going away from what works. Stop going away from that aggressive man cover play style. That being said, Byron Jones had a bad game today. Now, again, this is nitpicking because the defense held them to 9 points. The defense got a ton of turnovers. The defense did really well. But it's at the point where you're 2-7 that I'm going to nitpick because there's things that need to be changed. But Byron Jones had a bad day today. If he would jam, he would let the receiver go for big, wide open catches and stuff like that. Byron Jones had a bad day today. But other than that, this defense was shutting the Texans down. Tyrod Taylor never threw an interception against the Dolphins. Was like 10 touchdowns, no interceptions. I think 70% completion percentage with like a 119 QBR. Not this game. 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Dolphins did really well at shutting Tyrod Taylor down, getting in his face, sending the pressure off the edge, did really, really well. So the defense is one of the major reasons we won this game. Let's flip it over to the offense. Jacoby Brissett's bad. He got his 14 points. I'm happy about it. 17 points. I'm happy we won. I don't care. Jacoby Brissett's bad. He's just bad. He made some really good throws that made me happy. He converted 3rd downs that made me happy. He did things that made me happy. I'm like, good. Keep doing that. Okay, good. And then he did dumb things, like throwing that deep pass to Jalen Waddle, who was double covered for an interception. The 2 times back-to-back, he throws it. First time it hits I think it's the offensive lineman or the defender in the helmet. And then the second time he throws it like down. And again, we'll look at this in the film breakdown. He throws it down and it hits the defender in the chest and then intercepted. I don't know what his problem was, but he kept throwing it down. He threw a pass to Kirk Merritt, would have been a touchdown. He was running a deep corner route, and Kirk Merritt had to come back to the ball, dropped it. If he threw that where it was supposed to be in his hands, he's going up the sideline. It's an easy touchdown. Very next play, throws it to Matt Collins, too low, incomplete. He's very, very inaccurate. But then again, he was making plays where I'm like, good. You continue the drive. At one point in the third quarter, I think we ate up like 7 minutes of the clock off of just smart plays. The run blocking on the offense, hell, the pass blocking on that offensive line, Tua's not in there. So at this point, you're just looking at the offensive line, right? It's not Tua's not calling protections, Tua's not calling audibles. It's now the offensive line. It's bad. How many times on first down we handed off 2-yard loss? We rushed 20 carries for 34 yards. 1 touchdown on a Wildcat. 1.7 yards average. That's bad. That's really bad. We were in field goal range. I think it was second down or first down in field goal range on their 35. Jesse Davis just lets the 55 right in for a big sack. It's just even Austin Jackson was having a horrible day. I'm not even going to pinpoint one person or not because the strip fumble was on Liam Eichenberg on the left side. This offensive line is bad. Regardless of who the quarterback is in there, This offensive line is bad. The only way we could be successful on offense is if the offense pulls their head out of their offensive line, and if we have Michael Vick at quarterback, because you're gonna have to run. You have to run for your life because we'll look at it in the film breakdown, but the offensive line is bad. Penalties and sacks help the defense. I'm just reading my notes right now. The Gaskin fumble, Javon Holland fumble, and that shows that the Texans are worse than the Dolphins because we gave them so many opportunities to win this game with the fumbles, with the interceptions, so many opportunities, and they couldn't take advantage of any of that. Just looking. Face mask. These refs are also very bad. We won. And I'm still complaining about the refs. And I will complain about the refs for the Texans, too. Because the refs were bad. 2 blatant face masks on Jacoby Brissett. Not called at all. The offensive pass interference on the Texans, that was a bad call. He was just running his route, and he ran into our guy. That shouldn't have been offensive pass interference. The interception from Jerome Baker. I don't know what the thumbnail is. It's either going to be one of the one-handed catches from Gesicki or the interception from Jerome Baker. But just steps his foot out, makes sure to get both feet in, sets himself, and just there was such nice plays. Blitzing Holland, forcing the pick to Coleman. See, I wrote bad offensive pass interference on the Texans. That was a bad call. 3rd and 19. 3rd and 19. And this is what I got mad about, right? Because you have Jacoby Brissett in there, who is more aggressive with his passing, who has better arm than Tua when it comes to power and being able to get the ball down the field quicker. And on 3rd and 19, the Dolphins call a play for about 2 yards. And that just throws me over the edge of just anger because, again, we're only up by 8, and I'm like, we're going to choke this away. And then I started getting angry. And then the Dolphins challenge whether the Texans caught the ball when it was blatantly obvious that he caught the ball. Then they call a timeout. Then they didn't run the ball. Now I get why they didn't run the ball. But at least a few times, keep the clock going if you're going to keep throwing incomplete passes. This game in a whole, right, we won. Listening to me now, you'd think you should lose. We won 17-9, but we played bad on offense. The coaching by Flores was bad. He made some dumb challenges, just some dumb calls. The defensive coordinator, some dumb calls at some point. Overall, defense is the reason we won this game. Offensive coordinator made some dumb calls, and Jacoby Brissett made some dumb throws. But overall, we won. I wish we would have won by more, but I'll take a W. I'll take being 2-7 versus 1-8. I wish things would have bounced our way with other games, and we would be in a different situation right now. Not sitting there like, 2-7. You know what I'm saying? So I'm happy we won. Don't get me wrong, but I'm being overcritical of this team because they deserve it. Because you're 2-7 when you should be much better than that, going 10-6. So I'm gonna nitpick at things. I'm gonna point things out. Like I said, defense did great, but they still had to have the tackling. Be like 3rd and long, and then I think it was Nick Needham tried to high tackle Cooks, and he slipped under the tackle and got the first down. I'm like, come on, man! You make that tackle, you get off the field. If this defense can play like this and make stops and get turnovers against the Ravens, it's going to be a better game to watch. But Thursday's going to be hard. It's going to be a hard game. But the Dolphins won thanks to the defense. The offense made the plays when they needed to, getting the first downs when they needed to, getting the scores when they needed to. A much better game. We'll see if Tua plays Thursday. Did they hold Tua out to play Thursday? That's what it's all going to come down to. This week is going to be jam-packed with stuff for you guys to watch. Tomorrow is going to be the midseason review because we're at the midseason point. Then I'm actually, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to do the midseason review. I haven't decided yet, but I have the preview for the game coming out Tuesday. Me and Ingraven are getting together on Monday to shoot that. Then the Big O show is going to be coming out Wednesday instead of Tuesday. And then also Wednesday night evening is the film breakdown. And then Thursday before the game is going to be the picks video. So yeah, tomorrow is going to be mid-season review. But I got a lot planned for you guys. So if you guys haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. Other than that, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. But like usual, stay classy. Ivan's out.